Time to respond to another misandrous gaslighter. In this case, Professor Tim. This guy is part of the British education system. So you know he's a man hater from the get-go. Let's hear him.
The deluge of glamour, grit, and hypermasculinity which has swept through British schools.
This is a bullshit thing to say. You are lying, sir. Your boys are treated like shit by people like you. There's no hypermasculinity. There's no such thing.
Comes not from textbooks or curricula, but from TikTok, YouTube, and Discord servers. And its name, unfortunately, is Andrew Tate.
Bullshit. Like one of the boys pointed out. Sometimes it's Andrew Tate, sometimes it's Joe Rogan. Just anyone who gives boys some kind of boost to their ego is responsible for your misandry somehow. These boys are merely responding to the evil guys like you spread, the misandry.
Described as an alpha male influencer, and I've talked about him a few times in the past, a former kickboxer, self proclaimed misogynist. Tate has amassed billions of views online.
Well, that should tell you something. If you were treating your boys right, guys like Tate wouldn't be popular, would he?
But while he may sit back in Romania, broadcasting to the world, awaiting his court case, the reverberations are felt in the corridors in Britain, in classrooms, in British classrooms, and in British staff rooms. It's worth pointing out what the meaning of the word misogyny comes from two.
Well, it doesn't matter what the meaning is because it doesn't exist. Like one of the guys pointed out, Andrew Tate is a woman worshiper. He scams men and is proud to say so. And his whole career is built up to pander to women. To get the girl, he built status. And he built it off the attack on his fellow man.
Greek words, miso, I hate, and ganeka, women. And according to a recent NAS UWT survey of 5,800 teachers, nearly 3 in 5 report that social media has worsened pupil behavior and that Tate.
Well, but that's in general. You didn't specify, did you? If worse than student, does that mean both genders? It means both genders, doesn't it? Right. And almost none of it has to do with misogyny. So you are already spreading propaganda.
Tate is not an outlier. He is at the very epicenter of this movement. Teachers report boys refusing to speak to female staff, barking at them, blocking doors, and justifying it by quoting Tate's belief that women should obey.
Okay, they're doing that is because their female teachers are abusive to them. They're fighting back. They're standing up for themselves.
A primary school teacher described 10-year-olds idolizing Tate's cars, his money, his views on women. And once
His cars, his money, exactly. Everyone idolizes cars and money, dude. Everyone does. Very, very few people aren't status climbers.
secondary teacher recounted boys submitting essays arguing that women are men's property and then being stunned when parents were appalled. These aren't isolated incidents. They're
I don't really believe you, dude. I don't believe you.
patterns. And the patterns are the Petri dish, the Instagram reels, the TikTok videos, the gaming forums, the YouTube short, snappy, algorithm fed content designed to reward outrage and certitude. And of course, the algorithm.
Reward outrage. Why these young men outraged in the first place? It's weird how misogyny has only come to their generation, supposedly. A generation that has been beaten down and attacked for the way they were born, for the sex they were born. Strange about that, Professor Tim.
Children might be surprised that they're constantly being fed the same stuff. That is the algorithm. It doesn't mean that everybody believes this. It means
So you suggesting platforms are misogynistic? YouTube was taken over by a feminist who recently died, thank God. You think she did this to the algorithm? That a feminist, a man-hating feminist, made the algorithm to push misogyny? No. If they if they picked out Tate and put him at the top, it's a part of the plan to harm boys and men.
that the the watching habits of a particular individual dictate how those watching habits progress. And the algorithm feeds information that flatters
Dude, you're full of shit because my channel remains tiny. My channel's message isn't pushed because I'm actually pro male.
those watching habits. That is the algorithm. The algorithm is tailored to you. Tate and others like him are selling a seductive ideology, and that is amplified by this algorithm. That masculinity is under siege, that women are to blame, that success lies in domination, social, sexual, and economic. These platforms don't offer counterpoints, they offer
Really? So you made that disgusting Netflix series, Adolescence, which painted young boys who are supposedly in a good family as criminals in the waiting. They just need that right spark, right? Right. And yet you think that that Tate is wrong when he says masculinity is under attack. No, men and boys are under attack, not masculinity. Men and boys, the people. And they're being attacked by you too.
virality. Literally, they are viral videos about about man. And for boys, particularly in socio-economically deprived contexts,
Isn't that weird? Boys who are socio-economically deprived can't get the girl and are disrespected by people in general. It's almost like the girls go for status. Weird, huh?
it gives them a script because there isn't an alternative, an identity because there isn't an alternative.
That's right. There isn't an alternative because actually there is an alternative, but they reject it because the alternative is that you were born male and therefore you're lesser than, you're evil, you're a subhuman. That's the alternative. This is where you're lying, Tim, Professor Tim, is that there is an alternative, an alternative set by you, which harms these guys, which harms these boys. And that's why it's being rejected. There's nothing for, there's nothing to gain for these guys.
In a world where traditional role models have vanished or been discredited,
Yes, traditional role models have been discredited, not just vanished, discredited. So, in other words, men who are good, who have done great things, are called evil now, simply because they were born male. Now, whose fault is that, Professor? You're the teacher. Why don't you bring these guys into the classroom then? These stories, these male examples. You are a part of this problem. You are the villain here.
No, I think there's a lot to be said for the Andrew Tate idea about, you know, tightening your belt and getting on with it.
Really? So, Andrew Tate, who's a big misogynist, you're all about saying, hey, boys, we're not going to give you any help. We despise you. Welfare is for women. Sympathy is for women. Empathy is for women. You get bullied or beaten up, you just keep on trekking. Right. Now, there's a misandrist right here.
But unfortunately, Andrew Tate's stuff comes with so much extra baggage, and it's difficult to disentangle that idea about top.
Extra baggage. What he means is he actually pats the boys on the back. He actually soothes their ego. He gives them a path where they say, oh, you are a good person, or you could be a good person. You can succeed. All right. That's the extra baggage he's talking about. In other words, if Tate was good, good to you, professor, just means that you're saying, oh, you were bullied at school or treated like shit by your female teachers. Just take it like a good little slave boy. That's what you mean. That's what's a good message. This is the message you're spreading. I'm going to say this now at 3:35. You're an evil person, Professor Tim. You're an evil person.
Puffing it out and the idea about taking responsibility, it's difficult to disentangle that from all the other.
Taking responsibility for what? These are only boys. They're not responsible for anything. You're responsible.
Other outrageous and phenomenally poor judgment that comes from the Tate uh, pen, that comes with his oeuvre. The consequences of Tate and of this sort of Instagram thing and this algorithm are manifold. Female teachers bear the brunt, but all educators are impacted.
They would only bear the brunt if they were assholes to these boys in the first place, which they are. England is a feminist shithole, dude. And if the worst thing these monsters will get is boys talking back to them, well, they've got life on easy mode.
There's a growing culture of disrespect, of hostility, of conspiracy-laden thinking, fake news.
It's not conspiracy, dude. Your country has a no staring law for boys on your transit. That's not a conspiracy, that's a fact. And it goes only one way. It's not no staring at each other. It's you men aren't allowed to look at women. You know this, so you are a liar from the get-go.
Woke lies, blue-pilled teachers are now part of some pupils' vocabulary. But it is conspiracy-laden rubbish based on this algorithm. There isn't one algorithm.
Look, genius. You're a professor, right? In order for the algorithm to give these boys these videos, they have to be looking for them in the first place. They're searching for these, or they're recommended by other boys. And as soon as one of these videos come up that make them feel better about themselves, of course, they're willing to take as many as they can.
Many, each one tailored to you. Teachers report increased exposure to violent pornography, shortened attention span.
Bullshit. Everyone has a shorter attention span. How many adults my age do I see constantly looking at their phones. So the attach this to the younger generation is insulting to start with. Two, violent porn is loved by females, from girls and women. Also, violent porn is only there if you're looking for it. So you're basically saying that pornography is bad because it gives boys some kind of outlet, some kind of pleasure. That's what this is about. Boys aren't in particularly into violent porn. You only get it if you're looking for it. Because Pornhub has its own algorithm as well.
I find it extraordinary how only 10 years ago I could assume that I could keep uh, a student's interest or a classroom's interest for about 7 to 10 minutes at a time before having to tell a ridiculous story.
Well, this is true, but at the same time, why are you making it gendered? Why are you making this about boys? Since it's non-gender specific, it affects girls as much as boys. And again, this has nothing to do with Tate, does it?
Now it's less than 3 minutes. And and I don't think it's because my teaching has changed. I don't think it's because I've become more boring.
No, but your misandry is there. What young boy with any kind of self-respect or survival instinct would listen to a misandrist like you?
And the belief that traditional authority is illegitimate, that I find interesting and
No, interesting. I love that word. Interesting. It's to avoid that word interesting is used to avoid what's going on here. Yeah, you find that interesting. It's not about authority. What it is society has rejected these boys. So there's nothing for them to gain by involving themselves with it. They're rejecting it back.
disturbing. It isn't merely annoying. Part of it is that
That's what I felt when I've been listening to you. You're not merely annoying, you're disturbing.
traditional authority is no longer seen. Traditional authority is absent. We don't have police on the street.
You in England don't have police on the street. Well, that's a bold-faced lie. England is being turned into a police state.
Um, it's dangerous. We have nothing to replace. We have nothing to challenge the message that is being put out by Tate. It's not good enough to
What are you talking about? These boys are continually fed misandry from the media, from television, from the education system. They're the ones trying to replace the destructive message that's being fed to them with something better.
stand there. Don't listen. Don't listen.
Oh, by the way, this guy has 168,000 subs. So, dude, someone's pushing you in the algorithm, or I should say, the algorithm is pushing you, right? The algorithm loves you. You're using this platform. If it's really so destructive, why are you engaging in it?
Switch it off. Because that's not going to happen because the algorithm is feeding these children's watching cycles. NASUWT reports that up to 30,000 violent incidents against teachers with weapons have taken place in a single year. This isn't only about one man. Andrew Tate and figures
Thank you for admitting that. It's not about one man. It's not about men at all. It- you are attacking the younger generation of boys. You're destroying them psychologically. This is a war, a psychological war on this generation of boys who don't deserve that at all. They've done nothing wrong. There is no original sin that they need to overcome.
like Donald Trump channel a populist far right sensibility, anti intellectual, anti feminist, and often deeply racist or homophobic.
Bullshit. You're right about everything except for anti-feminist. Trump worships women. He's actually uh, said good things about them, saying they're better than men. So again, another lie. You're either lying or you don't know what you're talking about. It's probably both in this case.
And their success lies in creating performative identities that appeal to the disenfranchised adolescent male.
Thank you for admitting that. So they're disenfranchised, adolescent male, right? Whose fault that is it that they're disenfranchised? You, you in the education system, in the legal system.
The enemy is always out there: the teacher, the woman, the liberal, the immigrant, the elite. They offer not conversations but confrontation. They offer a neat package, not the quasi Quatang type.
But it's not a conspiracy. You actually are against the law. Here you are making a video attacking helpless boys who haven't done anything wrong. The only thing they've done is they've searched for some kind of uh what is it? Some kind of I'm searching for the right word here. Penicillin for the poison that you are feeding them on a regular basis. The misandry.
Not anything that actually offers some sort of solution. And this is the point. Kwasi Kwarteng may have been absolutely wrong. I think he was wrong. But he was offering a solution. The Tate stuff isn't even offering a solution. The Tate stuff is jumbling together all the rubbish and offering it as the only information which
Yeah, Tate is the only information. Right. Why is it the only information? What do you have to offer, dude, other than bile and contempt and hatred, misandry? What do you have to offer?
children are processing. That is much, much worse. They this is not conversation. This is confrontation. This isn't knowledge. This is combat. And boys,
Yeah, exactly. That's what the boys in your country have been suffering. Confrontation and combat when they aren't guilty of anything but being born male. That's right. But you expect them to behave differently somehow? Why? Where were you educated anyway?
uncertain of their own place in the world, find in these figures the illusion
No, no, no. They're very certain about what their place in the world. People like you, cretins like you, tell them on a daily basis where they belong, what their position is. They're misandrist. And they better keep their eyes down around their betters. And if someone bullies them or some girl rejects them, they should just take it because they're subhumans.
of clarity. And this is the problem. We're not equipped. We're not equipped to deal with this. The Department of Education acknowledges the issue, but curriculum changes, leaflets, and even the much praised Netflix drama Adolescence are
There you go, you scumbag. Adolescence is a complete attack on the very character of the male sex, particularly at these young boys. And you're praising this? You are an evil person.
not enough. While dramatic adolescence is not pedagogically sound, in some cases it may even reinforce the martyrdom narrative of boys who feel rejected. We must think
They don't feel rejected, they are rejected. They are rejected.
we must urgently rethink social media literacy, critical thinking curricula, and
So what you're saying is you got to shut down the internet for boys. I mean, that's what that adolescence propaganda was all about. And your curricula, that's just going to be more brainwashing. Your country is going in the toilet. It's going in the toilet because you're the one flushing it. And guys like you'll be so shocked when your country is gone because there's no new generation to take over it. The women in your country do not run the country. They don't keep it going. Well, they do run the country. They boss it around. They make the decisions, but they do not make it run.
parental engagement. And we need support, not blame, for teachers. We must discuss masculinity in its plural forms without reducing boys to would-be threats or hollow stereotypes. And above all, we need an honest national curriculum.
Hollow stereotypes, and yet you praised adolescence, which is one giant hollow stereotype, but not just hollow, evil, destructive, harmful, lying.
A national conversation in the curriculum about what kind of men we are raising today. Andrew Tate is not a disease, he is a symptom.
I agree with that. He's a symptom of your misandry. And what you're doing is you're destroying your boys. So why are you pretending that you aren't to blame? You cretin.
He's a symptom of disenfranchised masculinity, of unchecked algorithmic influence, of silence in the face of online extremism. And if we fail
No, 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 not extremism. Well, maybe I should correct myself. Anything pro-male is seen as extreme. It is extreme because the standard, the medium, is misandry. The common person like you is a misandrist. So one thing that is actually helpful to boys instead of harmful is an extreme. So I guess I have to agree with that. I have to agree with you there. So what you're saying is we don't want extreme. We don't want boys to thrive. We want to destroy them.
to act as we are doing, the consequences will not just be gendered, they will be throughout society. They will be part of society. Teachers, once again, are being asked to do more than educate. They're being asked to inspire. Well, I think that is part of what a teacher's job is. I think that's the main job of a teacher.
Wow, that'll be really inspiring to hear how you were born as a subhuman. As your gender is subhuman, you're evil, you're dangerous, and you should just know your place and be abused on a regular basis. That would be very inspiring.
Three jobs a teacher's got: to inspire, to moderate, and to inform. And because of the bureaucratic pressures that teachers face every single day, They're doing a fourth job, this bureaucracy, this paper shuffling rubbish.
Really? Bureaucracy. Right. So why did you bring that up? Is that getting in the way of your misandry?
And that is taking up all their time. And all these plans about what you're going to do in a class, all these lesson plans and so on. So that in the end, we've got lots of plans and lots of intentions, but the reality is that the lesson itself gets shoved down the road of of options. And
What are you going on about? Your harmful attitude is going to be going on full strong, whether you have bureaucracy or not. This is a non sequitur.
and teachers mug up on Wikipedia or Google the content of their next lesson, or they reprocess the stuff they've taught 5 years.
So we're going to skip ahead because this guy is talking gibberish right now. Let's just pause it for a minute. All right, the last 2 minutes is wasted, other than to say that we teachers should take control of the internet so that we can go on the attack of these boys full time, full throttle. They don't need any other kind of voices that might slow the process up. So you're destroying the entire next generation of boys simply because they're male. And you see yourself as a good person. I mean, I'm living an upside down world. Anyway, we'll end it here. Oh, P.S. You disgust me.